to Zimbabwe now, where we're speaking to the WPF's Deputy Country Director in Zimbabwe, Niels Balzer. Niels, just before we lost the connection, I was saying that, yes, you're managing this people that are food insecure, but one of the things that we've started to see in recent times is that it's not just in the rural areas where most people live, but this is starting to become something you're seeing even in the urban areas.
That's absolutely correct. An earlier assessment in 2019 has actually shown that over 2 million people in urban are increasingly struggling with food insecurity as well. So that's a relatively new phenomenon. And on that backdrop, WFP, the World Food Programme, we have started to provide assistance at the for now in Harare as well, and we're looking at scaling up assistance in different urban areas all over the country to reach about 100,000 people this month, January, and planning on further scaling up going forward.
All right, so how urgent is this situation? I mean, how long do you have provisions until?
The situation is very dire on the ground, and we're really, really worried. We need an additional $200 million US dollars now, essentially, to make sure we can provide assistance to over 4 million people in the next 3 months. But let me also underscore that, given that this is not a crisis that's purely connected to an agricultural season, but really is driven to a good extent also by the economic crisis. This is not going to go away in the next couple of months with the next harvest coming in. It's something that we're in for the longer run, and we need assistance to provide assistance most likely throughout 2020.
What kind of interventions have the authorities been able to offer in terms of what to do about this? Because at some point, solutions have to be found, and if rains are not coming, what to do?
I think the government has providing assistance both to rural the urban population. It's not at the scale that is needed, so that's why we're here to help and further scale up. And let me also say that while it is a humanitarian situation right now, immediately to make sure people don't fall into further hunger, we also need to look at investments in resilience building and building up the capacity of communities in the rural area in particular, but also urban areas, to be in a position to absorb future shocks, may they be climatic, may they be of other nature.
And who can assist with this $200 million? Who are you looking to assist you and help you in raising this badly needed funding?
Frankly saying, anyone, really. We have already some generous donors on board that have been supporting us over the years, but much more is needed to fill the gap of 200 USD, and whether it's the private sector, individuals, well-wishers, or of course more broadly the international community, to any support we can receive at this point.
How can they do that? What do they need to do?
Well, there are several channels in providing assistance to us. If you're an individual and would like to support us, there is WFP.org, our website, where you find dedicated areas where you can donate directly. Much of it is coming through the international community. These are separate channels that we're using, relationships that we have that we're plugging into right now.
All right, so this drought is in southern Africa generally, and I wonder, is Zimbabwe the only country that you're going to need to be assisting, or are neighboring states in the region also vulnerable?
Absolutely. I think you're making a very relevant point here. This is not just Zimbabwe that is suffering from the drought, but really all the neighboring countries, including South Africa, Malawi, Botswana, Namibia, Mozambique. So it's the entire region. And that also poses a challenge to us, because usually in a more normal year, we would source much of the food commodities, foodstuffs that we're distributing in Zimbabwe. We would source that from the region. But because of the stocks, we are dependent on imports from further far as Mexico and other places around the world, meaning it will take that is confirmed until food is on the community's plates. So hence even more urgent that we receive confirmation immediately.
All right, Niels, we're going to have to leave it there, just partly because we're struggling with the line, but I think the message is loud and clear that there's a crisis in the region, and if you want to assist in any way that you can, particularly if you're private sector and you have means, people in the region are in desperate need. Zimbabwe, the crisis situation, WFP.org is the World Food Programme's website, and you can log on to there and you can donate. The country needs $200 million emergency aid, and it's quite likely that aid will be needed for the entire 2020 because it's unlikely that they'll be able to come out of this current crisis anytime soon.